The Nightfall this week is a Cabal-themed one, meaning that Treads Upon Stars is the strike exclusive weapon that you can technically farm while it's the Nightfall. So is it any good? Well, let's take a look. It is a 3748 variety scout rifle, which is your Vision of Confluence style scout rifle. Hung Jury, for a more recent example, Talok is also a 3748, and that's generally considered the sweet spot for a PvE scout rifle. The thing that stands out at Treads is the fact that its stability is really low, like dramatically lower than other scout rifles in its class. In fact, it does indeed have the lowest stability among legendary scout rifles of that 3748 archetype. That's not to say that the thing is completely uncontrollable or anything like that, because generally speaking it is still pretty easy to tame. So let's just get down to it. What are the best bonuses? In the first column we're looking at stuff like crowd control, triple tap, and Zen moment. Nothing else is really that appealing. Life support is an alright mid-tier selection, maybe Who's Next as well, but I don't like that Who's Next proc requirement is so restrictive. If you don't get it with the final round, then you're kinda out of luck. Icarus is also available on this slot, but I never really know how to categorize that bonus because it just makes your in-air shooting much more reliable, but you still need to actually hit your shots. Either way, it feels much more like a PvP related bonus, but we'll talk about PvP in a little bit. In the middle, anything that's going to boost your stability is welcome. Something like hand-laid stock is going to benefit you because scout rifles are generally pretty good from range already, and toning down the range on something like Treads isn't really going to hurt it too much. The same goes for injection mold and small bore, and to a lesser extent braced frame. You don't want that magazine to get too low. In the second column, we're looking at a good amount of stuff. Outlaw, Grenadier, Army of One, Firefly, and maybe Hidden Hand for some PvP use, same for Third Eye. Guerrilla Fighter is obviously a no. Reactive Reload I'm not huge on, but it's not terrible, at least you can kind of control it. And Underdog I'm not too big on either. So I consider this gun as a PvE weapon much more than I do a PvP weapon at the moment. The 3748 Scout Rifle isn't really super hot right now in the Crucible, and if you're using one, you should probably use Talok because it turns into one of the most ridiculous guns in the game when you have your super. That's not to say that you couldn't use Treads in the Crucible, I just don't know how much luck you're going to have with it. Mida produces pretty good results already and can fire much faster, so I have a feeling that the Treads is probably outclassed by the Mida. In PvE, well, it's a hung jury style weapon, and that stat line, that 3748 stat line, has historically been very good. Is it anything overly impressive over anything else in the game right now? Not really. But much like a Boolean Gemini or a hung jury, it is a workhorse kind of weapon. It's just going to be a solid weapon for you as long as you have good bonuses. It's not flashy, it's not crazy, it's just going to get things done for you. As an example, I totally would use Treads over something like the Raid Scout Rifle for sure. But if you have another Scout Rifle that you already like using, perhaps you scooped up a Colavance's Duty during Iron Banner, that's also a great scout rifle. If you've used a 3748 scout rifle in the past, expect Treads to perform very similarly to it because there's not a lot that the 3748 variety of scout rifle can really do to separate themselves from other 3748 scout rifles. They generally just perform very similarly to each other. Anyway guys, that is what I have for you on the Treads Upon Stars. In short, it's a good gun, but don't feel obligated to go crazy trying to get one, especially if you already have a weapon that you enjoy. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.